What is up, guys? This is Vince the Prince back again with another video of NSP's Power Rankings. Finally remembered the name. Usually it always escapes the top of my head. But we're going to get straight into it here with the grading criteria. I'm going to bring it up right here. Of course, offense is going to be graded by points scored, offensive efficiency, strength of defensive matchup, and defensive grading is going to be points allowed, defensive efficiency, and strength of offensive matchup. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to get quickly into this one. I'm going to make this one shorter. Just going to talk about the main teams that I think have really done something this week or need to fix something. So here we go. At number 32, I'm going to have the Carolina Panthers here. They really didn't do anything all that great or all that bad. Played against Denver this week. Got the L, 14-26. They will be going up against the New Orleans Saints next week. This should be a game where they have a better chance of winning. I have not looked at the over-under here, but I think New Orleans is favored in this one. This might be one that the Carolina Panthers could bust. It just depends. They lost Deontay Johnson, was Xavier Legette, and Adam Thielen. If he plays, come to play and basically make a difference. We'll see. Carolina Panthers, though, staying at 32 this week. Alrighty, so here at 31, I'm going to have the Tennessee Titans. They dropped to 1-6. I mean, they've already had their bye week, so the bye week isn't really going to save them this week. But the tough loss against the Lions, like I predicted, it was 52-14. I mean, what a loss to have against the best team in the league, in my opinion. But of course, nothing really stood out to me. Defense gave up a lot of points. The offense did not get anything going. Pollard was all right in this one for fantasy purposes. Nobody else really besides, I believe, Calvin Ridley. But we'll see if Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard can keep it going. Maybe get their team a win next week against an easy opponent in the New England Patriots, in my opinion. The Patriots also did pull a shocker this past week. So it's going to be a pretty good matchup here. Tennessee is favored by 3.5. And I don't know. Maybe Tennessee can get it done. But for now, Tennessee's at 31. Alrighty, here at number 30, I'm going to have the Las Vegas Raiders. They're sitting at 2-6 at this point in time. They just took the L to Kansas City. It was a close one, like I predicted. I said that possibly the Raiders could end up beating Kansas City Chiefs. They've done it before. Checked back, and they actually did it last year. But this year was not, a game that they were going to do it on. Maybe next game, who knows? For now, Kansas City stays undefeated, and Las Vegas goes to play Cincinnati next week. Another tough matchup, in my opinion, but probably a matchup that is not so hard to cover or maybe even win this one. Cincinnati has a great offense, but their defense is horrible, just like how the Raiders are. So this one, we'll see. It's going to be a duke out here, but Las Vegas got to do a little bit better. All right, so here at number 29, I'm going to have the New Orleans Saints. I mean, not a bad week, but not a great week. They still are coming back from these injuries. Kamara is doing well. Olave is starting to do well. But this offense and defense as a tandem is not. So they lost to the Chargers 26-8. It was a weird score. I believe it was like 2-5 or something like that, 3-5. I don't know, scoreagami if you want to call it. But they're going to go up against the Panthers, who I've already talked about in this video. I think this one's going to be a tough game for both of these teams. It's whoever's going to get the offense going a little bit more. So if you have players on these teams, it might be a good time to possibly throw them in there. This might be a better game for them since both defenses are injured, both offenses are injured. So some guys are going to be getting more points than you're expecting this week. Other than that, though, Saints got to get better. Cap room is killing you. Alrighty, so here at 28, I'm going to have the New England Patriots. Yes, they did just come off a great win against the Jets, but the Jets are not very high in the rankings here. You'll see them in a little bit. But sitting at 2-6, it's about what we expected. We knew that the Raiders were going to be a bottom team, but right now they're doing good with Drake May. But as long as Drake May can come back from injury and hopefully lead this team to a few more wins, I think they have their quarterback of the future. So good job on them. They should be doing well in the next few years. But for right now, They're going to go up against the Tennessee Titans next week. I think this is one that they can win for sure. I know they're not favored in this game, but if Drake May comes back and he plays and he's healthy, I think they have a good chance of winning, possibly even winning this with Jacoby Brissett. But for right now, Drake May is their best bet to win this game. So we'll see what happens this week. Alrighty, here at number 27, I'm going to have the New York Giants. I mean, they had a tough game this past week on Monday Night Football. They did fairly well, looking a little bit better in the pass game, a lot better in the run game with Tyron Tracy. He's a dog out there. I love him. But really, that's the only talking point I have here. Daniel Jones still stinks. Malik Neighbors still isn't getting the ball enough, in my opinion. He said in his press conference he wants the ball a little bit more. So again, you got to feed your studs. Tyron Tracy, you're already feeding. Now you got to get the ball to Malik Neighbors. And of course, Slayton has been doing well too. So get the ball to Slayton as much as possible. But really, I think the offensive line is what really kills Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones is just not the best talent. So at this point in time, they're going to go up against the Washington Commanders. I think they will end up losing this game, but they have the possibility of putting up some good fantasy points. So hopefully for you fantasy guys out there, this will benefit you if you have Malik Neighbors or Slayton. Alrighty, here at number 26, I told you didn't have to wait long. I have the New York Jets. Again, New York teams back to back. It's pretty funny. 2-6 is what the Jets sit at. But here, the Jets are just looking bad. Everybody in the media is saying they have no more excuses for Rodgers. Really, I don't have any excuses anymore for Rodgers either. I said it back 3-4 weeks ago that the Jets are done. And now I'm finally going to stick to my guns. I gave them the benefit of the doubt when they played against the Pats that they could possibly win this game and cover. But they ended up showing me that I should just not have any trust in them, 0% for the rest of the season. And now it's negative 5% for me the rest of the season. I'm voting against the Jets every single game, and that will continue, especially against this game against the Houston Texans, who are sitting at 6-2. Yes, they're not the best top 10 team, in my opinion, sitting at 6-2 at this point in time, but I think they'll beat the Jets this week. So, Jets, you got to do a little bit better. Again, I think you guys should just scrap the season, trade away some guys that you traded for. Again, keeping Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers isn't the worst thing, especially with Garrett Wilson there. But you guys need to do something in the draft. Get a little bit younger. Get some guys who actually have talent now, not just guys who used to have talent and just trying to assemble, this old head type of all-pro team. But it just doesn't work like that. You got to build from the ground up, and you can't just pick and grab from the league and expect to have a winning team. So Jets just got to get a little bit younger, got to do a little bit more in free agency as of young quality talent, not old head quality talent. Sitting here at number 25, did not think I would ever see this team go this high. They did have potential, but it is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right now, they're sitting at 2-6, a little bit above the New York Giants, a little bit above the New York Jets. They had another tough loss here, losing 27-30 against the Green Bay Packers. It was not a bad game for them. They had some good quality points out there. Trevor Lawrence is looking better and better each week with the team that he has built around him. Again, his O-line is not the best. They just traded away a piece. So it's going to get worse for them. They're going against the Philadelphia Eagles here next. Philadelphia's sitting at 5-2. They're rolling. I think Philadelphia will end up winning this game against Jacksonville. But we'll see what Jacksonville can do. They've played pretty competitively the past 3-4 games. So I think this one could be another competitive one, but they're still not going to be even close to winning. But they'll put up some points. Now here, sitting at 24, this is the team that I really wanted to talk about. And this is why I'm being short in other teams, because I want to elaborate more on this team. The Cleveland Browns are sitting at 24 for me. If you were watching our live on Monday Night Football, you got the spoiler. But here at 24, yes, Cleveland Browns with Jameis Winston, Tillman. I mean, there's so many guys that I could talk about on this team. Chubb is back. He's not so relevant. But with Jameis Winston, Nick Chubb doesn't have to carry the team on his back. He just has to be a great piece like he has been. So really, I'm really excited about this Browns team. They're sitting at 2-6 as well. As you've seen, the past 4 teams are all 2-6. But they're going against the LA Chargers here. Next, I mean, they beat the Baltimore Ravens here. Let me talk about that game a little bit. A shocker. This was always something that was a possibility in some world out there, but I did not think it was going to happen here in our world. I knew that, the top 5 team in the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, would have made a good game against the Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston. But Jameis Winston did the impossible. Awesome for him. But now, again, next week they have the LA Chargers. So sitting at 4-3 are the Chargers. Sitting at 2-6 are the Cleveland Browns. But Cleveland is going to be at home. They have momentum. The dog pound is going to be there. I think this is going to be a great game. So I think I'm going to choose the Browns here. I'm going to ride with the hot team, the hot dogs, and I think their defense just needs to play a little bit better. So that way, Jameis Winston doesn't have to carry the whole load on his back. But there were a few mistakes that Jameis did make, some bad passes that could have been interceptions and, scoundreled the win that they just got. But again, luck was on their side. Hopefully they can get a little bit better this week, get a little bit more juice in the system there for the offense, as they are running with a lot of 2s and 3s. So we'll see against a tough LA defense. The Chargers are no joke, but I think the Browns can get it done. So sitting here at number 23, I'm going to have the Miami Dolphins. They did have the tough loss. I really thought they were going to win this one with Tua back, but they lost 27-28 against the Arizona Cardinals. It was a great game. It was back and forth, pretty realistic type football that you want to see. So I really like that Tyreek Hill and a little bit of Jalen Waddle are getting back to form. Tua really is the change there. Achane is through the roof at this point in time because Tua's back. I really don't know what the effect is with Tua, but again, you have to realize that they were running with guys who are off practice squads at their quarterback position. So basically, I guess that's the difference. You have a starter in the NFL versus a practice squad quarterback as your backups. So that's the difference. But next week, they're going to go against the tough Buffalo Bills, who actually Tua got hurt against. I think Tua is going to be a little bit smarter this game. I think the Bills are going to continue to bring the heat here. So Tua, you just got to stay safe for the rest of your career, actually, not just this game. It's going to happen against every other team where you're going to have those moments where you could get hurt and you have to know when to go down. Your career is more important than one game. And at this point in time, when you guys are sitting at 2-5, you don't want to risk everything as of your career for a season that might not lead you to the playoffs. At 22, I'm going to have, miraculously, the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, this past week, they lost against San Francisco. It was expected, The Cowboys right now are not getting everything going, but in this game, they finally got some sparks. CeeDee Lamb looks like he's a little bit back. 13 receptions is quite awesome for fantasy purposes. He did eclipse 100 yards, I believe, as well. So that's awesome. Good to see CD doing great things. I think he had like 30-something points. I think 39 was in one league that I saw. But that was against the San Francisco 49ers, lost 24-30. It was a tough loss, and I think they might be heading in the direction of another tough loss. They're going to go against the 5-3 Atlanta Falcons. I think this game is going to be a tough one, in my opinion. So Dallas, if you can keep it going with this good offensive streak, get Ferguson and maybe Dowdle back healthy after that insane, miraculous illness. I don't know what's going around the league, but if you guys can get some people healthy, I think you have a better chance of competing in this game. But I think Atlanta will end up coming out with a win regardless. At 21 here, I'm going to have the Indianapolis Colts. This is a team that is sneaky good, even with Anthony Richardson playing as their quarterback. But now, as we've seen, Anthony Richardson is going to get benched after that fiasco of him checking himself out of the game because he's tired. Again, I think he's just tired of making mistakes is one of the biggest things. So again, they played against the Houston Texans, had a narrow loss, 20-30. Again, it's a rivalry. So right now, the Houston Texans kind of dominate that rivalry the past few years. But again, the Colts are a tough team with Joe Flacco. I think they are going to get better. But this next week, they have a tough matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be a tough one to win. The Vikings are hungry for a win after 2 straight losses. Probably should have only lost one, but they ended up losing both of these games. So it's going to be a tough one. I think Minnesota is going to come in hungry. They want the win. And Indianapolis is still trying to struggle to figure out who they are as a team. Again, Joe Flacco is most likely going to be the starter, as what I've heard so far. And that's really just how it's going to be. It's going to be a good game Sunday night. I mean, I'm going to be happy to see it, I guess. We'll see Joe Flacco in the prime time against. Alrighty, so here sitting at 20, it's not a position I want this team to be in, of course, because it is my team, Seattle Seahawks. Have them moving down 6 spots after that horrendous loss against the Bills. I know we only lost 31-10 instead of 31-3, like it should have been. We just had a trash time touchdown. I really don't count that against into our offense there. Shouldn't have been any points on that board. Like we played like total doo-doo the entire game. Couldn't capitalize 3 times inside the red zone. Only got 1 touchdown. So again, the fumble, the high snap, it was rainy weather, but we just played horrible. Defense played horrible. Offense played horrible. We need to figure out an identity. I know this is Mike McDonald's first season as the head coach there, but again, halfway through the season, I expect us to have a little bit of a direction. It seems like we're just so up and down with who we want to try to be. Defense has some plays here and there. The defensive line is getting younger, and I like that. Hall and Boye Mafe are doing great things as a duo there off the edges. But we really need to find somebody who's going to help us stop the run, because this team cannot stop the run to save their life. And of course, the Bills had a field day. I mean, Cook had a field day. Anybody had a field day. And next week, we're going against the Rams. They're going to have a field day. Kyron Williams is a way better running back than Cook, in my opinion. So with the addition of Kyron Williams there and now Kupp and Puka Nacua back, I think this is going to be a tough game for us. I do not know if we're going to come out with a dub here, but I'm going to ride with my Seahawks no matter what. I think LA is only favored by 1.5 points. Pretty miraculous. I think they should be favored by more, but we'll go ahead and see. I think so far we are playing like the worst team in our division. So hopefully that can turn around soon. But if not, I'm okay with that because it's a better draft pick and a better position for Mike McDonald to go ahead and elevate himself next season. And here we go. At number 19, I have the LA Rams. I have them in front of the Seahawks because I think they are better than the Seahawks at this point in time. They have a better offense for sure, in my opinion, with running backs, wide receivers, and quarterback at this point in time. The defense is just about the same, so they're still trying to find an identity with Aaron Donald leaving in retirement this past year. So, again, this is going to be an offensive type game, as I alluded to in my Seahawks ranking. But at this point in time, I think the LA Rams are just a better team overall. I think they have more momentum going into this game, and I think it could possibly get them the dub. But of course, I still want my Seahawks to get the dub. But as of right now, Rams are looking pretty scary. I think they could rise up in the next few weeks in his power rankings. And back to back, I'm going to have 2 Los Angeles teams. So here at 18, I'm going to have the LA Chargers. They are looking pretty good with that defense. Herbert is kind of starting to get stuff going. Lad McConkey just had a great game against the Saints. They won 26-8. I believe he had 2 touchdowns, which is quite awesome to see from your rookie. Again, I still think he needs help. He is not a number 1 wide receiver, in my opinion. He has those spurts like he did this past game, but I think he needs a true number 1 in front of him to go ahead and help him out and, kind of get some momentum going on that offense besides him and, of course, J.K. Dobbins, who is most likely not going to be their long-term situation. But again, there is a plan there in the Chargers organization now that Harbaugh is there. But at this point in time, they're going to be going up against the Browns next week, and I think it's going to be a tough game. Hopefully, they can get some stuff going early against Cleveland, so that way Cleveland doesn't have the upper hand here with the momentum they have going back home and possibly getting another dub under Jameis Winston. But as of right now, this is going to be one of the best games, in my opinion, this week. It's going to be defensive for the Chargers and offensive for the Browns, so it's going to be a great clash. Alrighty, here at 17, I'm going to have the Cincinnati Bengals. They were looking good, in my opinion, before, but again, not having a great defense is what's killing them. They just lost 17-37 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles is a high-rising team for me. So it's understandable, but really losing by 20 points when you have that type of offense that you do, it's tough to not see them getting a lot of points. Of course, I still think they need somebody better in the running game. It's not just going to go well with Zach Moss and Chase Brown. So again, I still think Cincinnati needs to recover from losing Mixon the way they did. But at this point in time, they're going to go up against the Las Vegas Raiders next week, and I think this is a game that they can definitely win. The Raiders are a little bit of a sneaky team some games. We saw what they did against Kansas City, but I think the Bengals should end up winning this game for sure. Jamar Chase, hopefully T. Higgins coming back will help them. But at this point in time, I think Cincinnati should win. Maybe they'll be moving up depending on how great this win is against Las Vegas. Alrighty, sitting here at 16, these are the top 16 teams in the league. I'm going to have the Chicago Bears sitting here after a tough loss against the Commanders. I mean, what a crazy last play to give them the L. It was fun. It was fun to watch. Again, the beginning of the game was not so fun to watch. The offenses weren't doing very much until the second half. But Commanders got it done, and the Bears take the quick L here. Is probably an L they should not have taken. Their defense is great. Should have been holding the Commanders down. But we saw what Tyreek, I believe Stevenson is his name, their safety there for the Bears. He just was showboating, tipped the pass straight over there to Noah Brown, and that's what ultimately got them the loss. It should have been a win for them, but again, sloppy play and showboating before the game is over really bit them in the butt. But next week, they are going against the pesky Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be a tough game, in my opinion. Right now, the Arizona Cardinals are rising in this power rankings, so the Bears are going to have a tough matchup here. I see that at least on Yahoo Sports here, the Arizona Cardinals are favored by 1. So this is going to be a close game. Will the Cardinals win by just a field goal like they have been basically winning by the past 3 games? But will the Chicago Bears do something better on offense? They have the best offense in the league, possibly, in my opinion, besides the Lions, of course. They have a great running back. They have great wide receivers, and they have a great tight end. So really, it's just Caleb Williams getting them the ball and making opportunities happen. So Caleb Williams has to play great in this game in order for them to win. And just like I talked about, here at 15, I'm going to have the Arizona Cardinals. They are a rising team in my power rankings. They rose up 3 spots from 18 to 15 this week after the great win against Miami, 28-27. They just seem like a team of comebacks this year. They have a lot of games within 1-score possessions. So that's awesome to see. For the Arizona Cardinals, Marvin Harrison is looking good again. He finally had a great game. Not too many receptions, but I wish it was a little bit more consistent. But Trey McBride is getting them. So have him in most of my fantasies, so I'm not mad about that. But yeah, they're going to be facing the Bears after that good win against Miami. So I think this could possibly be another win for them as long as they play like they have been. Kyler Murray actually looks pretty decent in this time of the year, even though COD is out. I know all those jokes and stuff, but Cardinals look pretty good. So I'm excited about this game. Hopefully it's a good one. Next here, I'm going to have the Denver Broncos at 14. I mean, they are a rising team. They moved up 2 spots this past week with the win against Carolina. I know it's just Carolina, but it was a good win in my opinion. They could have done some stuff better, but Bo Nix is playing well. The defense is playing pretty well as well. So I'm not mad at this win, kind of like Sean Payton was, but I think, yeah, they could have done better. Could have put up more points, could have had a better defensive game, but there's always room for improvement. So in my opinion, Bo Nix is looking quite well. He's my sleeper pick for this next rookie of the year. Of course, Jaden Daniels is at the top for me regardless. But Bo Nix is rising there. So he should be moving up in the rankings. He is a sleeper guy to definitely kind of maybe snag this away from Jaden Daniels if it's possible. But he has his team at 5-3. So they're going up against the 5-3 Baltimore Ravens. We saw them falter against the tough Browns now. So we'll see what happens. It looks like Baltimore kind of struggles a little bit, and they lose their way of giving the ball to Derrick Henry when they face tough defenses. So maybe Denver has something here to say. But again, I still think the Baltimore Ravens will win this game. But I think Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos will play well. Next here, I do have another team that has moved up tremendously in my opinion. I'm going to have the Philadelphia Eagles here at number 13. Moved up 4 spots after their win against Cincy, 37-17. It was just such a quality win, in my opinion. I thought this game was going to be way closer. I think I had the Cincinnati Bengals at least to cover. So, again, this was a surprise to me. Winning by 20 points is awesome whenever somebody can do it. And Philadelphia did it against a good offense. So, in my opinion, the run is doing great with Saquon. Really love that duo that they have over there. Basically, with Jalen Hurts and him, they're like basically two running style guys. So it's awesome to see. Wish Saquon was getting a little bit more touchdowns like he deserves, but Jalen Hurts just hawks them away from him. But really, the pass game is looking good too. I mean, AJ Brown is looking good. Can't wait for Goddard to come back and get meddling in there. Devontae Smith is actually starting to look a little bit better as well. But this offense and defense for the Philadelphia Eagles is getting better. So they're turning the leaf here. Next week they play the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think this is another win that they could get fairly easily as long as they continue to play like they are. So really, they just have to keep the foot on the pedal, and I think they'll be good. But we'll see. So next week could be tricky for them. Alrighty, here at number 12, I'm gonna have the team that just has been through some woes. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost 26-31 against Atlanta. This was kind of expected with the injuries that they've had. But like I said in past videos and past lives for fantasy, Cade Otton is a guy you need to get on your roster. I believe he had 29 or 26 points this past week. He's going to be getting those until Mike Evans gets back. McMillan did well, but not as well as you expected from picking him off the waiver wire and expecting him to get 15 points. He got like 9, I believe, in PPR. So not the best stat line there, but this team still does look well. They're running fluidly on offense still. Really, Rachaad White is coming back because he's getting a lot of passes now. Those injuries are going to do him well from Godwin and Evans, but as soon as Evans is back, I do think Rachaad White will kind of take a little bit of a downturn again. Bucky Irving is looking fairly well as well. The rushing is amazing with these rookie running backs. I'll continue to say it until it falls off. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go against the tough Chiefs next week, so the run game might be a little bit harder to get against this tough defense. Chris Jones is just an animal over there, and he's going to stop the run regardless. So Buccaneers have a tough road ahead, but I think if they can make this game close, it gives them a little bit of momentum going into next week, which I believe is their bye week. If not, it is week 11. So again, Mike Evans is almost back. It's looking good for them. So right now, they just need to keep the gas on the pedal, and they might be able to save their season. At number 11 here, I'm going to have the Houston Texans. Like I said earlier in this video, they are probably not the best top 10 team, and that's why they've fallen out of the top 10. So for me, against the Colts here, they should have won by more, but I predicted that this game would be close. That's why I took the Colts as to cover in this past game. Now Houston is going to play the New York Jets. This is, can be a tough matchup if they don't play like they should. Again, the Texans are just a team that plays towards their opponent's skill level. And again, this is in New York. So again, hopefully no injuries happen tonight. Houston is 6-2 and New York is 2-6. That should speak enough for itself. Houston should win this game. If they don't, it's because of self-inflicted wounds, not because the Jets are actually decent. Here at number 10, I'm going to have my nemesis here, AJ's favorite team, the San Francisco 49ers. They're looking pretty good. I mean, they got a good win against the Dallas Cowboys. They won 30-24. They move up to 4-4, tied for first with the Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals. Of course, they sit at the second position because they beat the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals that beat them. But they are looking better. Christian McCaffrey also looks like next week, in week 10, he could possibly come back. Of course, they're going to have the bye week. So again, I think it's going to be week 11 is when they're going to play him, most likely. Again, I could be wrong on their timetable. I don't look at their schedule too often, but I know McCaffrey is just around the corner. So if he can come back and play healthily, because Mason is just bad, I mean, now he's going through the injury woes. This team can look scary again. So as soon as Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey are all out there, I think this team looks scary, and not looking forward to it when they play the Seahawks again in week 11, I believe. So should be a fun one in week 11, but also this week should be a fun one. Yes, so scratch all that I just said. San Francisco is actually on their bye this week. Alrighty, here I'm going to have at number 9, the Falcons. Atlanta, you guys are looking a little bit better. You did have a tough game against the Seahawks 2 weeks ago, but you rebounded this week and beat the Bucks. They are also injured a lot in a lot of areas, but moving up to 5-3 is great for them. Really, it's just a good rebound game. I really can't say too much that their offense played extremely well. London looks good. Bijan looks good. Pitts is starting to have a little bit more of some momentum going into these few games. Now they're going to play the Cowboys. It is going to be at home in Atlanta, so this should be a win for them. But again, the Cowboys can be pesky at some points in time. I think they're getting a little bit of momentum on offense with CeeDee Lamb getting better, but Kirk Cousins is just going to have to overcome that. I mean, if he could have another 500-yard game and a couple of touchdowns, that'd be cool. I'd love to see it. But as of right now, the Falcons should end up getting this win, and they should be staying in the top 10 unless something dramatic happens. Here at number 8, I'm going to talk about, again, a great team, Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels looks good. Terry McLaurin looks good. Everybody there looks great. The defense is where it's not looking great for them. They put up 18 points, but gave up 15 points to the Bears. So it was a little bit good. The defense is finally catching their own, but they still need a lot of work. Going into this next game, they're going to face the New York Giants. I think this is a game they should win. But again, we've seen the Giants get a little bit of momentum with Tyron Tracy. I don't know if Washington's going to be able to stop him in the run game, which will lead into Malik Neighbors being a little bit more open. So we'll see how this game goes. But at this point in time, I think Washington should win this game. They should be staying in the top 10 for me. But we'll have to wait and see. Divisional rivals sometimes are tricky. Alrighty, so here at number 7, didn't think I would have this team going this high in this season, but they proved me wrong. I will eat the bullet here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are really good. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields have led this team to being great again. So in my opinion, this win against the New York Giants was not the best win, but it was a good quality win. So 26-18, you always love to see it. I mean, Pittsburgh has been so great pretty much since I've been born. When they had Ben Roethlisberger, now moving into this era where they have Russell Wilson. Really, it was just the bad years when they had Kenny Pickett and other guys playing when Ben Roethlisberger retired. But now they're back. I think if they can keep Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, that would be awesome for them. I think trading Justin Fields away wouldn't be the best move because, again, you don't know how long Russell Wilson can keep this going. He is fairly young as of quarterback age, but I still think you want to have that good backup. Every good team who makes it to the playoffs usually has a good backup, and in those situations, it really helps. So this week they do have a bye week, but sitting at number 7 going into next week, I think they are pretty locked in to stay in the top 10. Again, unless something dramatic happens and some teams outside the top 10 have great games. But for right now, I think they are another team that will stay in the top 10, regardless of what happens this week. Next here, falling to the 6th spot, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, it was another tough loss to the Rams here, who just got pretty much lucky getting everybody back and healthy. So again, another tough loss. But my big question here is the defense is faltering. Are the Minnesota Vikings still a Super Bowl or a deep playoff contender? At this point in time, they are not playing their best football, but it was kind of something that we kind of saw coming. Of course, Reed knows that. He says the Minnesota Vikings are not as good as you think. But again, I still have a little chip on my shoulder for them, thinking that they are good. I think as long as they keep using Aaron Jones the way they should, Justin Jefferson, and now Hawkinson coming back healthy this game, hopefully, I think they should be somebody to reckon with. But we'll see on Sunday Night Football. Again, the loss of Kirk Cousins as their main quarterback and now moving on to Sam Darnold. I think it was a little bit of a step back, but he still is playing well with the great squad that they have there. We'll see how they do against the Colts this week. I think they should win this one, but again, Sunday Night Football, anything can happen. Another team moving down to the 5th spot here, I'm going to have the Baltimore Ravens. So again, we know the loss they just had to the Browns. It was televised everywhere, regardless of where you were. It was just a shocker. So the 1-5 Browns came to town and beat the 5-2 Ravens. Now they go down to 5-3, and they drop down in my power rankings. I still think they're a menace in this league. I still think they are a great contender. It's just sometimes this happens against divisional rivals. The Browns can always have somebody's number, especially when Jameis Winston comes to town and plays well. But the Ravens are going against the Broncos here, another tough defense. I think this is going to be a tough game for them. especially if they don't rebound and use Derrick Henry like they should, and hopefully they intend to. They traded for him for a reason. They want to win a championship. They don't want to hear anything about, oh, you guys are not using your running backs correctly, and that's why you keep losing. And Lamar Jackson's playing like an MVP again. So they should win this game. But again, I just think that they can sometimes play down to the competition. And this might be another game where it happens against a tough defense. We'll see. Baltimore, you should win this game. If you don't, it's probably because of self-inflicted wounds and not giving the ball to Henry. Now here at number 4, I'm going to have the Green Bay Packers. Reed, you should be happy here. I know you probably want them in the top 3 at this point in time, but with the loss of Love, we don't know if he's going to come back at this point in time. I know he should be trending towards being healthy because it wasn't such a scare of the injury. So again, if he plays this week against Detroit, it will definitely help them out. But last week, loss against the win against the Jags, 30-27. It kind of felt like a loss because it was so close. But a win is a win. I will say that. That's why I don't have them moving into the top 3 this week, just because of, the pesky small win again. I want this team to win big in order for me to put them in the top 3, or have like at least some quality wins against these, lesser teams, in my opinion, these bottom 20 teams, bottom 10 teams. And so again, going up against a tough matchup in a divisional rival, it is going to be at home. So that's a quality thing there. But if it's Malik Willis, I do not think they win this game. If it's Jordan Love, I think they have a better chance of beating the number 1 team, in my opinion. So it should be a good one. 6-2 Packers versus the 6-1 Detroit Lions. I'm looking forward to this one. At number 3, I think this team was more deserving of the 3 spot than the Packers. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills here. They just killed my team. It might be a little bit biased, me putting them up here, moving up 3 spots, jumping some quality teams. But 31 to basically 3 should have been the win for the Bills. They shut us down completely. When you do that to a team, it's very observant and very tough to miss. So the Bills look great. Really, Josh Allen is playing some of his best football. He just threw his first pick again to Job, who is like our practice squad guy. So again, it was just something that was out of nowhere. But really, he has 0 picks besides this 1 pick in week 8. So that's great football. They are playing clean football. Even in the rain, they played quality football. Cook looks good. Keon Coleman is starting to get better. Really, this team is finding their own, as they've already been winning. But now, if they're finding their rhythm, makes them even scarier. That's why I have them in the top 3 here. Next week, they're going against Miami here. It should be a win for them, in my opinion, since it is a home game. It's getting a little bit colder. Maybe Miami is not going to like that. But at this point in time, I think they are just the better team. Tua and the Miami Dolphins can come to town and possibly throw a shocker in there like the Bills did when they went to Miami earlier this season. But this is their last matchup. So again, I think the Bills want to make a statement, sweep the Miami Dolphins, even with Tua healthy again. So we'll have to wait and see. This one should be a good one. It's going to be in the 12 o'clock window. I wish it was probably like a prime time again, but can't always do that 2 times a year with the same teams. So 12 o'clock, this one will be on my TV. Here at number 2, I'm going to have, again, Kansas City Chiefs. I think they had another quality win, moving up to this 7-0 as the only undefeated team still. So in my opinion, it was not the best win, but again, Kansas City always gets it done. And at 7-0, I cannot have them falling out of the top 3. It would just make my power rankings irrelevant. So here, having them at number 2, even though they have these single possession wins all the time, it's just something that happens. Last week they beat the 49ers by 2 possessions. This week they beat the Raiders by only 1 possession. And again, the Raiders had the chance to possibly go out there and put a shocker on them, go into overtime, maybe get the win, but ended up throwing a pick late in the game, and that's what sealed it. So again, Kansas City Chiefs defense saves them a little bit. Patrick Mahomes is playing like Patrick Mahomes. So again, I cannot fault this team. 7-0. They are possibly the best team in the league. Again, I think they are deserving of the number 2 spot. So that's where they'll sit. Next week, they're going to go ahead and go against the Buccaneers. So this should be a good game on Monday Night Football. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to it with Reed on Monday Night Football when we're live. So catch us there live. It should be a fun one in my opinion. And yeah, I think Kansas City should end up getting the win here with Tampa Bay being very injured. Mike Evans will not be back. So it's just how it is. So it should be an easy win for them, but we'll see. And shocker, shocker, here at number 1, gonna still have the Detroit Lions. Again, just a freaking great quality win, putting a 50 bomb on Tennessee, 52-14. Again, I'm gonna get past this game because there's nothing really to talk about here. They're gonna go up against the Packers next week. I think this is one of their biggest tests. All the divisional games are their biggest test. Every single team in their division in the NFC North is great. I think the Packers are probably one of the toughest, especially when you're going into Lambeau. So this is going to be a great test for them. We'll see if they can get a trade done, maybe even before the game. It's Thursday right now. They play on Sunday at 3:25. Even if they get the trade, I don't think that person will play in the game. But if they do, it will probably help them against the Packers, whether it's defensive or offensive. Mostly, I think it's going to be defensive with Aiden Hutchinson getting hurt a few weeks back. But we'll see. I still think this team is a number 1 team. They're putting up quality points. They're showing why they are the best offense and defense in the league, in my opinion. Not so much the defense, but the offense really makes up for it. But yeah, it's going to be a great one. I'm looking forward to this game. Like I said earlier, it's going to be on my screen. But that'll be it for my power rankings this week. A little bit shorter than other ones. So if you really like these videos, let me know down in the comments what you think about where your team sits. What else I can do better here? Are the visuals great? Can I improve somewhere? Let me know. If not, hit the like button. Of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And of course, as we always say, guys, join the Discord down below. We just really want to interact with you as much as we can through these posted videos, the lives that we have on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And of course, on TikTok when we go live on Tuesday and Thursday as well. So find us wherever you can. We'd love to interact with you guys, love to answer your questions, and of course, just grow the community as much as we can. But other than that, guys, that'll be it for this video. Hope you liked it. And as we always say, keep on grinding.